Hi guys! So a while back I actually asked you all to leave me questions regarding my pregnancy on my Instagram, and today I've decided to answer some of them. So let's begin. What's your parents' reaction when they heard you were pregnant? Were they surprised? My mom was the first person I told, besides my husband, who was with me when I found out about it. She just went like, please don't scare me. What are you gonna say? Please don't tell me you're pregnant. That initial reaction was already kind of negative, so I laughed about it, hoping it will make things less tense, but it didn't happen because she started going all like, oh my god, are you serious? You're pregnant? What are you gonna do about it?
I'm always the first one to, support her, to control her.
You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
We come from a rather conservative family, as you guys already know by now, so it did take her some time to digest the whole situation, but she came to terms with it and allowed it to happen eventually. Whereas my dad, on the other hand, he was very calm. Back then, he was actually on a work trip overseas, so he told me we'll talk about it when he's back. So that's their reaction. Would you and your hubby be married if you weren't pregnant now? We actually spoke about marriage way before finding out I was pregnant, and we were intending to get married this year, otherwise next year. Are you afraid of losing your shape after giving birth? I would say no, because I'm quite determined to get back into shape right after. In fact, if I could already be working out to get back into shape, I would have done so. So that's not something that I'm really concerned, because if there's a will, there's a way. There's no excuses like I can't or like I won't and everything. It's just whether you want to or not. It's like if I want to, I will. How do you deal with stress and hate from the world, especially now that you are pregnant? Whenever I read comments, there's this part of me that wants to reply, especially when some things are not true. So instead of responding, I'll just try not to see it, especially after the pregnancy, because I like to remain all zen and positive. And I try not to read all this stuff that will make me upset, because I know any emotions that I have will affect my baby. Would you continue your career, or would you stop your career and take good care of your baby and family, or would you do both? For starters, I definitely need to have my career in order to be able to raise the child. I'm not depending on my husband to do that alone financially. It's not only his job to raise the child, but it's also mine. Secondly, it's not just for the money, it's for passion, and it's something that I enjoy doing. If you are talking about, social media, YouTube or whatsoever that earns me an income, if there comes a point where I need to pick between two and my child needs me more at that point in time, I will definitely prioritize him or her. So it always depends on the situation. Do you miss clubbing? If you followed me for a really long time, you will know that I'm like a party animal, and I really enjoyed partying in my younger days. I started partying since I was... I'm not sure if this is legal to talk about. Okay, we'll skip the age, but yeah, I started partying at a really young age. It's not the pregnancy that stopped me from partying. In fact, before I found out I was pregnant, I actually took a long break from clubbing, drinking and stuff. So it's not something that I would say, oh, pregnancy stopped me from doing something that I enjoyed doing, because no, it didn't. I don't like the feeling where, you have a good night, besides the hangover, you wake up the next morning feeling really empty, and that's something that I didn't enjoy. It feels like you spend the night doing things that are really superficial. You spend a lot of money, you spend time with friends that are probably not your true friends, and you have a good time, but at the end of the night, it's all over. It eventually made me realize it was a waste of energy, a waste of money, and a waste of time. No hate, it was just something that I realize I shouldn't do too often. So to answer the question, do I miss clubbing? I miss it, but it's definitely not something that I crave for or feel like it's very important, especially now that I'm pregnant. It's something that is out of my mind. What's your biggest change after pregnancy? If you are talking about mentally, I think I grew a lot throughout this pregnancy because of, hormones. Okay, but besides the hormones, the way I look at things, the way I deal with things, I won't do things on impulse. I would think more on the consequences. For example, controversy, that's something I would avoid. I think about how eventually my child's gonna be in this world, and I don't want the impression I leave on others to be left on my child. Does that make sense? It's not just about me now, it's about us, my husband, and our family. Physically, I think it's just the size that changed after the pregnancy. How does it feel like having to carry a big belly? Also, how do you sleep well? The 1st to 5th month, that was when my belly wasn't really showing yet, and it wasn't in the way with large clothing. No one could tell I was pregnant. So if you're talking about how it affects me, it would be from the 5th month onwards. The only time I feel like it's affecting me would be when I sleep, because that's when I have to lie down, and lying down is kind of uncomfortable. It feels like you're carrying a rock on you. You feel breathless because you just imagine like a rock on you, yeah. How many babies do you plan to have, or you have not planned? I've always wanted 2. I definitely don't want like odd numbers because I don't want at any point any of them to feel left out. Have you found out what gender your baby is? Yes, I have, but I'm not revealing it yet. So you guys should continue, stay tuned, and you will find out about it soon. What are the things that you can't wait to do with your child? I would say having a new best friend, like things that best friends do, spending time, doing things together. Does the baby kick you? Does being pregnant change your relationship with your husband? You look great, by the way. Thank you. And yes, it definitely changed my relationship with my husband. I think a lot of my followers or people who have been viewing my stuff have this perfect image of my relationship. That's what most people do online. They show the great stuff, which is normal, it's completely normal. We don't want to post a picture of us fighting with our partner. These are the things that we don't show. So naturally, people have this impression that everything is going well. But definitely, we had our arguments, we had our fights, we have our bad times throughout our relationship. But the thing that I'm really thankful for is that since we got married, all these problems that we used to have while we were in a relationship changed for the better. I guess we grew. We realized that, now that we are having a child and we are married, it's not just about us anymore, it's about the family. So there are a lot of things that we take into consideration when it comes to our relationship, and we compromise, we handle each other better now. There are some things that you just don't have to talk about to prevent conflict. He grew, I grew, and we grew together. Do you plan to give birth naturally or C-section? I've never considered C-section from the very beginning of my pregnancy, but from my last couple of checkups, my gynae actually told me that my baby's a little overweight compared to regular babies. So if it continues to grow at that speed, I might not be able to opt for natural birth because of its size and because of my size, because I'm very small in frame. During pregnancy, what are your cravings or new favorite food? I don't really have any cravings. I definitely like to eat a lot more things that I didn't used to. For example, vegetables. I don't really like to eat vegetables, but after I was pregnant, for some reason, I like to eat salad. I did mention before that I don't like to drink water, and I drink a lot more water now. I never liked drinking milk, but I suddenly do. Are you afraid of labor pain? I think I have a rather high threshold for pain. I know it's a different kind of pain. That's kind of the thing that I'm least worried about. When it comes, it comes, there's nothing to be afraid of. What is the hardest thing about being pregnant? I would say the constant fear that anything I do might affect my baby, like the things that I eat or the things that I apply, anything that comes into direct contact with my body. So for example, if I'm sick, I'm also afraid that it might affect my child, and every day I'll get really paranoid. I'll go on Google and start searching all sorts of articles to kind of comfort myself or assure myself that nothing's going to happen. Are you going to inspire your baby to be like you, or get him or her to achieve his or her own dreams? It's never crossed my mind to ask my child to be like me. I'm okay with it, but it's not something that I would force upon them, because I think everyone should have their own choices in life. Will you breastfeed? Yes, I'm planning to, but the only thing that I've not decided is how long, because it also depends on the supply. It's not something that you can control or something that you can decide. It really varies for every individual. I'm guessing this person is trying to ask if I bought new clothing specifically for my size. I did not buy clothes specifically for the pregnancy. I wore a lot of my old stuff, and a lot of my old stuff consists of oversized clothing. Also, it's a motivation to me that I have to lose weight no matter what, because I wouldn't be able to fit into my old clothing if I continue to grow bigger in size. Are you excited to give birth, or are you very scared that it's gonna be tough? If you are talking about whether I'm excited to be a mom or whether I'm afraid that being a mom is going to be a tough job. No, I am not afraid that it's going to be tough. In fact, it's something that I look forward to. How do you maintain such a strong relationship with your husband? I think it takes time, patience, and communication for sure, because the thing that I remind him to do most is that we communicate often, not just about, like what happened today or what happened yesterday or what we did earlier on, but communicating is about expressing your feelings, your deepest emotions that you don't normally share with anyone else. So we are very, very honest with each other when it comes to how we feel about each other. When there's a problem, we settle it. We don't avoid it. You can't just talk about the issue and not solve the issue and then sweep it under the carpet. So it's always about making sure that at the end of every fight, you learn from it and grow from it. I would say that's how we keep our relationship strong, by communicating with each other. What would be the best advice you would give to first-time or just got pregnant moms? I cannot give an advice to every single mom or every mom-to-be, because everybody's situation is different. Whether you're prepared for it, whether it was unplanned, all these factors play a part. I can only give my advice based on my experience and what I went through. So for people who are going through what I did, you actually found out about your pregnancy before getting married, this is what I have to say. Obviously, when something is unplanned, your initial reaction will never be like 100% positive. It will always come with fear, it will come with worries and everything, which I felt back then. Like, I was scared, I was worried about how things might turn out, but I'm also very thankful that I have a very supportive husband and family who went through this entire process with me. In that case, everything turned out fine eventually for me. And yes, for those of you who are going through this alone, I just want you to know that you should always stay strong and remain positive, because at the end of the day, when the child is with you, everything will be worth it and nothing else matters. So don't be afraid of what the world might think about you. So yes, that's the end of the Q&A. If you have any more questions you'd like to ask me, do leave them down in the comment section below. And I definitely hope you enjoyed this video. I still have a lot more to share regarding this pregnancy, so do stay tuned. I will keep you guys updated and I will see you guys soon. Bye!